Hello everyone! Welcome to my first video on this channel, Bro Moments. Today I'm going to be doing a time lapse of a giant castle that I'm trying to build. Wow, alright. I'm getting text messages, I didn't think it would do that. Holy shit. Okay, anyway. So, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a castle, and the first part is obviously start off with a big old stone wall. Now, my stone wall was, I think 57 by 55. Somewhere around there. I didn't have it even because I didn't want to have to build the exact same structure on four sides or, only once. What I wanted was have a front and a back that looked the same and the sides looking very different, and that's what I ended up with. So, like I said, they are slightly off, but they're still both, they have two block centers, so I guess that means they're 58 and 56, doesn't it? Here I'm just going to mess around with the fill commands because I'm in 12 or 1.12 instead of 1.14. Had to go back to use the replay mod, which is actually a pretty good mod. I do enjoy it. But I couldn't get it working here. So, yeah, you're just going to have to watch me build it by hand for the next few minutes. The replay mod will only let you speed it up to 8 times speed, which is pretty fast still. But not quite as fast as I would want. Oh, I attacked the horse. Alright. So, there's also a bit of lag, as you can see. I don't really know how to commentate over this because it's really just me building a giant rectangle. I guess a tip is to crouch and hold down the X key. I just kind of put weights on my keyboard and sent a few texts while I was doing this because obviously I wasn't just gonna wait here and do it. But you can turn your sneak key to the caps lock key, and then you'll actually have a toggleable sneak. So you can do that and then just put two weights over the W and well, change your right click key also to something else, or your interact key to another key, and you can place two weights on top of those, and you can just constantly build. And then I got kind of bored of that, so I actually just went and manually did it. And here I was kind of messing around with the fill command a little bit more because, like, hey, this is really boring and I don't like it. Because, it's 8 times speed that you're watching it. It was really slow for me. 3 minutes is like 24 minutes, or it's exactly 24 minutes in this game. And here I finally figured out how to get it working. This is my first try, or my first successful try. The hollow command wasn't where I thought hollow would work, so I can just make this entire rectangle that fast. It doesn't work. You have to just, I don't know. It's still a lot better than the set block command you used to have to do in order to make doors and stuff. I am very happy with the fill command that's finally in because you can do some pretty cool stuff with it using command blocks. And when you're doing the fill command, I guess you can kind of see it in the chat there. I usually use the looking at block thing with your F3 menu and just type it in the chat so I can remember it. Alright, so now that the rectangle is finally finished, here I am slowly walking over for some reason. Oh yeah, I was seeing if I didn't realize it was off center at this point. So yeah, I also didn't realize how many blocks center was. So here I am measuring it out. When you're building your castle, it's pretty important to make sure that you do this too, so you don't accidentally build the door in the wrong space. And the problem with building castles, actually, is that, well, in real life, castles are really boring and just kind of rectangles or whatever they can manage to make back in that time. So we don't really have anything to go off of when you're trying to make a castle in Minecraft, except for maybe video games and movies that make them look way cooler than they actually are. So yeah, it's not exactly easy to make one of these. That's one of the hardest things about it. Like you can make a rustic house pretty easily. You can make a military base, which I'm gonna do later. Spoiler alert. You can do a lot of stuff because there's a lot of real life stuff that's based off of. That was a very good description I just gave right there. But it's pretty hard to build castles because they generally look like shit. So I kind of started out building a normal castle, and I quickly moved on to making it look cool. Right here, I'm obviously going to add in the guard towers because you kind of need those. And you can see I started with some wooden beams there, all spaced out 3 blocks between them, and a large door area there. Like I said, there's going to be a door in the front and the back. And I'd like to point out, it says part 1 because I never actually finished this. Like, as of recording this audio clip, I never actually finished building this castle. It took me 4 hours to do what I did in this video, and that's way longer than I ever wanted this to take, so I just kind of quit it wasn't really quit. Like, I had decided while building it that I wasn't going to finish it and that I would get to exactly the point where I stopped. So technically it wasn't quitting. It was, finishing the plan. I'm gonna get to the part 2 of this castle later on. I don't know when. It might be my next video. It might be a few videos down the line. Down the line. Fuck. Okay, I probably shouldn't swear. I'm saying a lot. Sorry, this is I'm pretty tired. It's like 12 o'clock here. Anyway, almost finished with that. Yeah, there we go. Put the plus in. Come on. All right. So now, great. Now I'm filling in that part. You can always put the plus in. I did it just for decoration. I didn't really need it. I did need it to obviously start with the circle, but not to end with it. And when you're doing this, you kind of want to make sure with circles that your that curved portion has the same amount of blocks or nearly the same amount of blocks as the middle portion or the straight portion, because otherwise it's going to be more of a rounded square. And I'll show you an example of that pretty shortly. Yeah, actually right here. Nope, never mind. But anyway, I'm going to make more of a rounded square for the center because it's a castle. I'm not just going to make a giant tower in the middle. Let's see. So I'm adding the big plus right here. Okay, this is me fiddling with the recorder here with the replay mod because I kind of forgot you could just hit space. There we go. Put a big plus in the middle there so you can visualize it better. And these the walls are 2 blocks wide so that you have a good walkway. I did this because I built a somewhat similar structure in a different world, which I might be showcasing later. But that was a much smaller wall on a bunch of floating islands. But it's the same premises here, where those 2 blocks we're going to be walking on, you're going to be making the wall a little bit thicker with details as you go. So there's the rounded circle, like I said, because it's a castle. And I don't want any part of the building to be too disconnected from the actual center. So I kind of went with this, or a rounded square, not a rounded circle. And for the next few minutes, I'm just going to be making this a lot taller, which is not exactly pleasant to watch, but I mean, I guess if you like it, that's fine. When I was doing this, I was not having a good time. I was not feeling good at all for some reason. And now I'm feeling a lot happier, so that's pretty good. How are you doing? I'm bored here. Alright, so as we're getting a little bit higher up with this wall, I guess I can kind of explain what I'm doing with this channel. Mainly, this is a building channel, building tutorial channel, and also redstone, because I've been getting better at redstone. Watching Mumbo's videos, and also I learned from a friend recently that Bedrock is actually very, very different from Java. I thought I was just bad at redstone because none of the things would work in my world on my phone, because I don't like using the computer since all my computers are super old and take a very long time to actually get Minecraft working. I usually just do PS4 or Pocket Edition, but I'm loving the new update with the that little trapdoor thing where you can crawl, and the fill command, which I love for building. If I were in 1.14, I would actually love it because I'm not in this mod, like I said, which kind of sucks because it would have made the walls go a lot faster. I know you can do it in this one or in this version of the game, but it's a lot easier because you can do /fill blah blah hollow, which will just make the walls instead of making an actual it'll make all 4 walls instead of just making 1 wall. Alright, so it looks like I'm finished with that. Now I'm gonna start building up these towers here. 2 towers on the side because it's a castle and it's gotta look cool. And this is what all fantasy castles kind of look like in my experience. So I move it out 1 block because otherwise, and it's kind of hard to show you from this angle, but I'll try to explain it. The wood blocks right next to the tower, I wanted them to have some depth. I didn't want them to be on the exact same plane as that one section of the tower. Yeah, it's hard to explain. But trust me, it looks a lot better now that I moved it out 1 block. Otherwise, it wouldn't have the same depth that it has now. You wouldn't really be able to see the shadows there. So here I am. I started with a square. Obviously, I kind of turned it into this more rounded shape. It's kind of like a rounded square, but I like it. Put that little support beam on top there, and then I start working with the door. And the door kind of looks like a triangle, an indented triangle, which is fine. It kind of mimics the shape of the support beam on top of it. And here, this is where I kind of fiddle with the tower roof because I didn't really know where I was going. Eventually, I decided to give it more of a bulb shape, but here I was trying to go for more of a triangle shape or like a cone shape. And that is not hard to do, or that is not easy to do when you're working with a 4x4 tower with no corners. So that looks really bad, obviously. I just kind of destroy all of that, move on. My next step was kind of trying to use dark oak underneath to highlight the spruce, which did not solve the problem at all, because the problem was that you couldn't really see the top of the cone from this angle. Destroy all of that. It doesn't render in because of the mod. Flip it completely upside down. Looks like magic. It's not. And then I decided to finally make that bulb shape. And then here is a pop-up that I really just can't be bothered to edit out. I mean, I'd have to pull up a whole new editing software thing to actually just erase that clip. So I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm going to leave that in. You guys can enjoy. That's not my email, by the way. That is the email that I really wish to not keep popping up. It's a problem. I don't know how to fix it. Alright, so this is not the bulb shape that I end up with. But it is what I have for the time being before I realize, hey, that looks stupid. So I placed more supports kind of hugging the towers to connect them together. I don't really know how to explain why I did that, but obviously it does end up looking pretty good. I guess the whole point is to kind of make sure that everything is connected with the support beams. They're not really supports, but you get the point. It works together like that. And now I fixed the bulb. So that's that. That is the final bulb shape. It doesn't look too good, but you know the tower tops aren't exactly the centerpiece of this build. Let's see. I'm gonna obviously copy it onto the other side before moving on to the sides of these towers, in between the towers actually. And here, building up the support, giving a little bit more shape with those stairs, and doing the exact same thing on the other side. A lot of this is very repetitive, obviously. And now this is also pretty much exactly what I did on that build I was explaining a second ago, except it was a wall, there's nothing behind it, where I kind of built it up and did almost like an elongated bulb shape. I don't know how to explain it, like a triangle-ish. I put some grass there because I was thinking about what I should put there. I didn't want to do stone brick because that wouldn't be very highlighted. And I was thinking about doing stairs, but then I thought, nah, that's gonna look stupid. So here, this is the final product of the of all the walls, actually, the little rooftop for the walls that you get to walk through, and you can kind of see what I mean by the two blocks there. Yep, go back, cameraman. I kind of forgot I was working on this tower, bringing it up, and I bring up this tower a lot actually in this video, but you can kind of see there. I'll show you right here. Yep, there are two blocks in between where you can walk on, and that is the exact portion of the wall. It just kind of works out like that. I had to kind of ruin the towers a little bit from the behind so you can actually walk through them, and then I decided to fill up the wall. Now this kind of did ruin that rounded square look I was going for. It makes it more square with less round, but it's fine, you know. Ends up working. It's not like you're actually gonna see this thing from a bird's eye view when you're in the castle. So here I am copying the design onto the exact other side, and when you're doing this, always make sure that you have some detail for the walls. You don't want the walls to just kind of be sitting there looking boring with no shape to them other than rectangle. Now you can do this however you want. You don't have to do the very exaggerated rooftops that I decided to do for my castle walls. You can do it any way you want. You can do I guess more flat triangles. I don't know how to explain it. You can do much shorter. You can do much taller. I wouldn't have the rooftop or the walkway look much bigger than the wall itself, because then that'll just kind of look weird. But you wanna give it shape and put as much shaped detail into the build as you can, because this is, like I said, a castle, and castles are not very creative with their design. So now I'm just gonna copy the exact same thing onto the other side. Not exactly fun. And actually around here, oh, where'd it go? I was kind of looking for me as the cameraman, like, wait, where'd I go? And then I remembered I was kind of fixing something up on the other side there, which you'll see in a second. And I was like, wait, what is that thing? Because I thought it was me for a second. All right, there we go. Build up those 2 towers, and somewhere around here, I actually took a phone call. And I was building while taking the phone call. My dad called me, so I'm such a good YouTuber. You're welcome. Didn't even stop the build, didn't even pause it. He didn't even know I was playing Minecraft while I was talking to him with a pretty serious conversation going on. And it was just a great time all around. So here I am fixing those up, adding the towers in once again. You shouldn't really be too scared to have those 2 wood blocks next to each other, but don't use the 2 wood blocks repetitively if they're going to be right next to each other, because they don't look that good if you do that. You don't want really textured blocks like the log to be used too much throughout the build. Alright, so I'm going to do that rounded shape once again, and you should always give your doors some definition. If I can go back and change anything, it would actually make the doors a bit bigger. Because I do think that the door is kind of like a centerpiece of the build, almost as much as the 2 towers surrounding it. I had a pretty good castle build on PS4. It actually wasn't a castle build; it was someone else's castle that I was fixing up, and it ended up looking pretty good. So, and the main reason for that was because I made the door absolutely huge and very accented. And that seems kind of weird, but if you do that, it will almost definitely come out with a really cool look. So I just kind of skip the towers, the small towers, not the big ones. Skip the small towers and make a really, really large door. That would be what I would fix if I can go back. I can go back, but I'm not going to because this took a really long time to do. And always go for those rounded towers. I can't really think of any other shape that would possibly look good with a castle build like this. Square towers aren't really going to look good. I don't even know if you could do a triangle. I don't know. Just don't always go for the circle. That's the only thing that you always have to do when doing this kind of build. Always go for a circle. And honestly, circles are pretty cool looking in Minecraft because it's not something you often see. And that's, I guess, while I'm just doing the exact same thing I did on the other side, I can explain a problem that I have with modern builds. In real life, modern houses are boring, kind of. I mean, I know the whole point is for them not to be boring, but they're not diverse. They have a lot of rectangles, they have a lot of large windows, a lot of minimalism to them, and that's not something that you generally like to see in Minecraft. You know, whenever you're looking at a build, rustic is generally better received because it has much more diversity. Even here, I didn't do as much diversity as I probably should have. With the stone brick, I could have textured it with like andesite, cobblestone, maybe some mossy stone bricks, but I ended up not doing that because that would take way too long. Just know that I could, I guess. And the problem with modern builds is that if you build a noob could build a modern build in Minecraft, and it would look pretty much identical to real life because it's just rectangles, which is what it is in real life. And sometimes you get like those kind of circular, oddly shaped modern houses. Like those do look pretty cool, and that's because it's got that really rough kind of circular shape to it. Circular shape, sorry. That you often don't really get in natural Minecraft builds. So I don't know. That's my problem with modern builds. You can't really. They're too. They're not diverse enough. You know. You use the same block the entire time. Minimalism and Minecraft do not fit together very well. And that's also my problem with castles. And here I'm trying to tackle that problem. Oh look. I kind of messed up on the tower. I put it down 1 block, and I forgot the plus in the other tower. So I'm about to go fix that. Here I am looking for myself. Yep, there I am. So yeah, there we go. I might actually try and do a modern build later on, but I don't know. I'm not really a fan of modern builds. Plus, you can't really make them huge like you can with castles. No, there's no such thing as a giant modern house. They're always 1 story or 2 stories. Or sometimes they're like 5 stories, but then they don't look good at all. Here I'm just doing a very, very basic build design here where I'm just kind of extending the wall the entire length because I didn't want to have to build that front entrance all the way around. And I'm thinking this castle might actually end up being an arena because I never finished anything inside of that rounded square there. All I did was finish the towers, which end up looking pretty cool, and I do some accents to the wall, fix it up a bit, actually add in some roofs to those wall roof supports. And I'd like to point out that those stairs there that I'm adding to the wall add a lot of detail with the shape. It turns it from being just a rectangle to kind of a spiky, rougher, rounded shape. And that really improves the look and feel of the build because it, like I said, more diversity. It takes it from that natural looking rectangle shape and turns it into more of a curved build. And that's a lot of the time what you want when you're building this. Also, I'd like to point out that I did not do any yard work. I will definitely be going back to do yard work because yard work is probably my favorite type of work in Minecraft. So I'm adding on some stairs here because I'm going to make the tower thinner to give it kind of like a bottle shape, and then I'm going to make it kind of expand out more. And when you're building, if you're building your own tower, you should kind of follow my tips here, where you want to make it go inward a bit, and then add a skinnier portion to the tower, and that skinnier portion should be the longest part of the tower. It's not with my build, but if I had done it right, I would have made that the longest portion, and then the top should always be the thickest part of the tower. So this is where I kind of go all out and do a lot of work on this single tower before kind of moving on to the rest of them. Because the way I like to build is I like to do things where I do part of one thing and move on to the next and kind of go like an assembly line. Here I decided not to do that because I was kind of approaching the end. Yeah, I really am, because I'm not going to fill in that rounded square at all. I'm kind of approaching the end here. So I end up putting supports around the tower because I think that makes it look pretty lit. And I don't want any of that, the inside of that oak log to show. You might notice there's barely any you can see on the rest of the build so far, so I end up putting stairs around it. Sorry, my voice is getting very spitty. I'm going to take some water real quick, let you watch the build. That was probably very loud. And here I kind of go for the lip right there, where I can start making it bigger. Anyone notice that donkey's moving straight up sideways? What the that donkey is going backwards. Okay. Well then. So, like I said with the roundness, there's a lot of roundness to these towers now with those stairs that I added in. Not only does it kind of add a circular effect to the center of it, but it also kind of adds the an oval shape to the stone brick part of the tower. And that gives it obviously a lot more shape, a lot more diversity in the build. And if you look there in the center, yeah, there we go. Between those two towers, that's a blank wall. And I do end up changing that. Excuse me. Because I don't really like how that looks. Here I am doing the assembly line where I just kind of put the supports around all the towers. And when you're doing a rustic build specifically, always go for wooden supports. Or maybe not wooden, but always go for supports. Because it adds a lot of depth to the build, a lot of realism, I guess. And it makes it look a lot better than if you didn't have them. And always put the depth in. If you watch Green's videos, and you really should if you don't. But if you watch Green's videos, you should always know that you need depth to a build, so it's not just a rectangle. Unless you're trying to build the most realistic castle in the world, in which case you would just get a rectangle with no depth. Like, even if you go onto your new world that you once built with that castle that you used to think looked really cool, that's probably going to be more cool looking than an actual castle would if you imported it right into Minecraft. Here I am, not knowing how to use the thing again, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to go to the center and kind of show you what it would look like as I was building from the center of the castle. I'm looking for myself. Yep, there I am. and then I give up. And then I get kind of bored because I'm just doing the same thing, and I go look at that sheep. Hey, buddy, how's it going? And then I get freaked out because I forget that it's an 8 times speed. Alright, so here we go. Back to the tower. Just building a lip. Not exactly much to commentate here. Like I was saying, if you don't watch Green, you really should. He has a lot of rustic builds on his channel that he kind of shows you how to do. And you've probably heard of Green. He's a builder. Probably not the best builder in Minecraft, but he is considered to be the god of building because he's definitely the most popular on YouTube anyway. So here we go. Finishing that off. I think that's the last one. Yep, there we go. And now I can move on to better things. So here I go for, again, more of a rounded square at the top of my my thing here, and I really do that with the actual inside of the tower. Oh, floating castle. I forgot to comment on that, but I'll show you in a second here just how rounded off, or just how square this is, and I wanted to do that to add a little bit of shape to it. Also because it's going to give you more room inside the tower to actually put things. See, there we go. Much more sharp, I guess, around the edges. So then I kind of repeat it. I was originally gonna go 3 blocks tall with that inside, but then I decided to go with 6 because I realized 3 was way too short. And again, you don't want to make the you do not want to undermine the tower that you're building, or the top of it, because the actual stone section is not the important part. Now, you don't want to make it too big, obviously, at the top, but you really do want to kind of highlight the top area where you're going to be standing and shooting down, because that is that's the part that's going to have shape, and that's the part you're going to actually be in, and that's also where your eyes are going to be drawn to when you're looking at this build for the first time. Here we go. I noticed I messed that up. And I do not fill in the bottom of the tower for some reason, or on any of these actually. It takes me the entirety of all the towers to finally go ahead and do that. Also, I didn't use fences at all in this build, and in my part 2 I'm probably going to go around and place fences everywhere, because it just doesn't look right without them. I did place blocks back there, just not loading it. It's been doing that a lot for some reason. I don't know why. Alright, so now all those are finished. Before moving on to the bold part of the tower, I wanted to show you what I was doing with that blank area, and I think I did a really, really good job with this. It's not a really big deal, but it does actually look really cool, and I'm pretty proud of it. So I just kind of extended up a nice little triangle here. I don't know if I finished it yet because it's lagging. Yeah, there we go. And then I added the stone highlights behind it, and then you can kind of see, yep, there we go. And then there's, oh, never mind. I do end up putting some blue wool in there because blue is the color of this castle, as you probably saw in the thumbnail. So I copy it to the other side because I want the two sides to look identical, even though I know the side with the sun rising is actually the front, which is a detail we will get to probably in part 2. Yep, there we go. We're going to the front side now. So here, I'm not going to build a square bulb, obviously. I'm going to go for a circle. So I had to kind of reorient myself with the circle build. And then I was really struggling to get a circle going because, or to get a good bulb shape going, because you can't really see it from the ground. Like this angle that you're looking at it is not important at all. What's important is when you're 5 stories lower and looking up at it. You really don't want that bulb shape to go and just disappear. So I break it, looks really fast, and I end up actually moving the entire bulb, or the entire circle, out 1. And then I go up 3, then 2, then 1, and then finish off flat. And that's kind of how you do circles, or bulbs, or spheres, or anything in Minecraft. You go gradual. You start with the biggest, and then you go smaller, 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 the smallest, and then you go back out to the biggest, to if you're doing a sphere, or if you're doing a circle. Always make sure it's kind of gradual like that. And this isn't the best looking bulb ever, but that's because I didn't really feel like finishing off the top there. And also because I I didn't really want to go back and actually make sure it looks perfect. Instead, I just kind of wanted to actually have it here because, like I said, I was feeling pretty bad at this point. Like just tired, and I really didn't want to have to keep going with this. It had already been nearly 4 hours. I started the recording. I actually had a recording planned before this one that I was gonna do, and didn't work out because my recording sucked. My recording software sucked. I'm using a different one this time. And I just kind of went down. I was supposed to maybe do a 2-hour castle build to show you guys. It ended up being 4 hours. And at this point, the reason why I'm stuck on this bulb instead of moving on to the other one is because my stupid cat was meowing really loudly upstairs, and I realized I had to go feed him. And he's very picky. He does not like the chicken. He does not like his chicken slime. He only likes the tuna slime, so I had to go find a tuna for him. I fixed it. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't eat the chicken either. Like, his food is mushy and slimy, but the chicken one is kind of nasty. It's, like, chunky and slimy at the same time. Like, if you're going to go slimy, just go all slime. Don't go for chunks. It's not tuna, it's salmon, sorry. The salmon is nice and opaque, and it's all just kind of nice and mushy. It smells horrible, but at least it's better than chicken. It looks like a bunch of non-distinguishable meat chunks mixed with that weird ectoplasm that comes off the fat ghost from Ghostbusters. Anyway, I should probably get back to the build. I'm adding these little thingies, I guess. They're also called supports. I'm adding these little supports to the bulbs. And I don't know why that looks good, but it does. And I knew it would because I've just watched a lot of green videos. So you should always go and try and add these supports. I'm going to do a lot more detail in the largest bulb, which is coming up hopefully in part 2. Hopefully there won't even be a part 3. But I'm gonna add a much better looking bulb when I get to the larger one. Obviously there wasn't too much room to work with here. And here I tried to get like a lower shot of a floating castle. It didn't really work because there's bedrock. But here we go. With the donkeys in there. And this is kind of like a shot of me building it. And I just kind of stayed here. And I hit the wrong keys, so I don't know. I don't know what it would have done if I hit yes, but it doesn't seem like it would have been good. And I'm almost finished building this. The bulbs are not the last part. I actually do end up putting the blue wool as the roof for the walls there, and I also add it in that little triangle looking thing. Am I finished yet? Nope. I'm just going really slowly. Okay, you can't see me building. I did end up finishing the bottoms of the tops of the stone tower, if that makes any sense. Notice there's a big hole there in the stone part. I ended up finishing that, and I'm pretty sure in that frame right there it was actually finished. It just didn't show it. So here you might notice, and as the cameraman I was kind of pointing it out, that it's very, very wrong. So I ended up destroying the entire bulb because I went in one block and I was not really thinking when I was building it. And then I go ahead and move it out one. And there we go. So I'm almost finished with this bulb. Not really, I guess. And keep in mind, this took me such a long time to do. Like you're watching like 4 minutes of me building this, and it actually took like, wait, what's 4 times 8? Holy, how am I not? It's just, I don't know, I'm not thinking right. Okay, yeah, 32 minutes. 4 minutes of you watching this video is 32 minutes of me actually building. This was not fun to do towards the end. It was very fun towards the beginning. So here we go. I start building the roof, and obviously there aren't any stairs for the blue wool, and I didn't want too much wood, so I kind of added those little thingies right there that kind of add a little bit of detail to the roof. And then I just kind of move on to the other side and build the exact same thing over there. Can you hear me okay? I'm looking at the audio recording thing now, and I realize it might not be picking up my voice. Wait, is this quiet, or is it just lower pitched? Okay, this is weird. So we're getting very close to the end here, obviously. And I want to give a quick thank you to whoever is watching this right now, because I am a new channel just starting out. Um, and I'm hoping you're enjoying the video so far and that you'd want more of these. I guess I should ask you to hit the like button so I know, but you're probably not going to do it. So it's not really worth the ask. Keep in mind, I'm actually recording this right now, like just a few minutes after finishing the actual build, and just maybe half an hour away from it being uploaded. So my first viewer, you watching this, I'm probably watching you watching this. Just know that, man. Just know that. I'm probably watching you through your webcam, as a matter of fact. Wait, no, because people don't watch YouTube on their computer. I'm probably watching you through your phone cam. Alright, and I'm finished. And that is pretty much the end of the build. I'm obviously going to go and do a lot more and finish up the center area of that in the second video. So thank you for watching, and look out for part 2.